Oh, what's up, Facebook?
Are we live already? Oh, hi.
Rise and grind. We're not rising so hard today. A little slow. I'm knocking over boxes and piles of
But that's
pens.
only because we trained so hard last night.
Yeah,
It was a really good night of training.
it was a very good
I
night.
feel like I got hit by a truck. But really, I just got hit by a Perry, who happens to be the 2003 Ozaki pickup stick champion. If you
Yeah.
don't know.
Ozaki County pickup stick champion. Do kids play pickup sticks anymore?
I don't know. I haven't
Or
seen
like-
it played in a while.
What else? Like monkeys in a barrel.
Oh, that was a good
Remember?
one.
What other classic ones are there?
The fish game.
Oh, with the little fishing
Yep.
rod, and they go around. They go like this in like this spinning circle.
Yep,
Oh
yep,
man,
yep,
I had
that
that at
was
my
a good one.
grandma's house. That was cool.
What was it? Not Scrabble.
Yahtzee?
No, the one where like you
Hungry
were
Hippos?
No, you were timed and you had to like throw the letters and the spots, and if you didn't get it all in time, like the timer went off and it would shoot them all up into the air.
Oh,
What was that?
I don't know. If someone's watching this video, we want to know what that game is.
Yeah,
I really
comment
wanna know,
that.
actually.
That's our competition. We don't know what the winner wins yet, but
Yeah. So as I share this to the group, do you want to do a quick intro on episode 19?
So we're episode 19, which is pretty cool. We've got we're continuing our topic on mental strength, and we're getting into so last time was all about how to like manage your emotions to show mental strength, and this time how do we define it? We're going over grit.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like your body's mental strength over your body and over your, how do you say it? Like your want to give up attitude. Like your brain
Yeah.
naturally wants to give up,
Like
and your ability to
perseverance.
override that is kind of grit.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear about it a lot when it comes to like physical activities, but it also extends into, other parts of your life. Whenever you're kind of doing something that kind of sucks, and your ability to embrace that suck, as Jocko Willink would say,
Yeah.
and kind of grind through it, is what makes up grit.
So last week, 2 weeks ago, because I was at a growth conference last week, and the week before I was in Boston, so it was a little while ago. We talked about mental strength, and we decided that we would put it to the test randomly and decide, like, we don't run.
No, I don't run.
I definitely don't run, and we decided to run some hills over at Lime Kiln.
And we did.
So we started at the dojo in Grafton. We ran over to Lime Kiln, and we decided to run up a very,
Which is
very
like half a mile for people.
yeah,
who don't
it's
know.
not that far away, but like the hill is also a half a mile.
The hill.
No,
is
it's not
very-
really. It's a really big
It's
hill.
probably a solid eighth of a mile. It's probably a quarter mile up and down.
Yeah, it's a big hill. But just kind of push ourselves out of our comfort zone, try new things. I'm not a huge fan of like long distance running, but I do know that sprinting is very, very beneficial in
Interval
multiple
training,
aspects
yeah.
of like health. So every Saturday after Rise and Grind, if you guys see us live, we're most likely going to be running hills. I mean, we're going to have to figure out what happens when it starts snowing outside, but
Just do it anyway.
do it anyways. We'll
figure it out.
Everyone's more than welcome to join us. New people,
Uh-huh.
people who aren't familiar with running. If you are good at running, you're going to be way ahead of me and Talon.
Yeah. And that's what kind of inspired this episode, because it the whole time where I'm running the hill, and I did it the weekend after too, while Perry was away, I didn't want to keep going.
No.
I wanted to stop, and I made myself push further. So the last time we did 5 hills. Granted, we had a 20-pound vest on for 2 of them, but we had 5. The last time I did 8, and this time I'm going for 10. It's just, you just always want to stop. You never want to keep going. It's way easier just to like kind of
You're doing the vest for
hang out
half
at the
of them.
bottom. I'm doing the vest for half of them.
I'm just kidding.
Let's do this. All right. Like, it's going to take some grit.
But like 20-pound vest on Talon is still lighter than Talon circa 1 year ago.
That's true. I'm down I mean, probably an average of 40 pounds.
It's crazy. If I added just 2 vests to you, how different you would
Oh
feel.
my God. It would look like how when I got my blue belt. You see that picture?
Yeah.
Fatty cakes.
That happens.
I dropped the weight class. So, but grit. Okay. So there is a lot of information on grit.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is that we're lacking a key detail about it.
Which key detail?
And that's how do you cultivate it?
Yeah, for sure. So I actually heard about grit, maybe it was last year or a year ago. There was a TED talk that Angela Duckworth did. And essentially, what she did is she did a study with kids
Mm-hmm.
to figure out, kids and businessmen and, athletes and whatever it is, but like what makes someone have an advantage to be successful in life, right? And she ended up coming up with, she didn't define the term grit, but that's the closest thing that she could find to it was grit. And she had this TED talk, there's millions of views on it. You can find it online. It's a short one. Some TED talks are like 25 minutes. I think this is like one of the 6 or 10-minute ones. But after her TED talk, she authored a book. Actually, I don't know if the book was before or after, but her book's called Grit. I haven't read it yet. It's definitely on my list. But people were, so impressed with what she was doing. She actually won the MacArthur Fellowship for $650,000.
The Genius
Yeah, the
Grant.
Genius Grant to actually continue studying and try to figure out, how exactly grit is developed and how it plays a role in success. Right. The dictionary defines grit
Mm-hmm.
as firmness of character and indomitable spirit, right? Which I think is pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of hard for like me to digest. So
Mm-hmm.
her definition is actually passion and perseverance for long-term goals.
Yeah.
And if you look at Brazilian jiu-jitsu, if your goal is to get a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, like
That's
you need both of those
passion
things.
and perseverance. You aren't going to get one without passion and the
Yeah.
ability to be put down, and you're probably going to have to suffer a surgery or two on the way. Like, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
And so that's just one way to bring it into martial arts. I feel like, especially training the way that I'm training right now, like I'm working on my grit, like my ability to just keep going when I'm tired and I'm exhausted, and I've got another one of these monster black belts coming at me. And I just need to keep going. I need to keep fighting, and that's kind of when I think all these episodes I bring something back into martial arts because that's like all I do. But there's many ways that you can show grit um, without having to like sweat. There's ways like at work if you're trying to like really work on your promotion or you're on your career track and you're really trying to climb the ladder or you've got some kind of other project going on that you're trying to make on the side be your thing, like your ability to stick with it when it sucks and it's not what you want and it's not going the way that you want it.
Perseverance portion, right?
Yeah.
Like, Wesley says hi. We have a few people joining.
Hi, Wesley.
If you guys are joining, you should click the two steps. Click the heart button, or I think nowadays there's some heart eyes. We would love that. But also share it with your friends. We would
Please do.
greatly appreciate your shares. Yeah, it's my little brother is kind of starting his career, right? He's going to senior year of college, and a lot of times with careers, and like a lot of things in life, before like the good stuff happens, you have to go through like the shit positions, right? The positions where you're just like doing what people tell you. It could be the longest, most tedious tasks, right? But that's where perseverance, really needs to kick in, and you need to be willing to do the non-fun, crappy parts to get the good stuff, right? It's like training for an MMA fight. Like the hardest part about training for the MMA fight is the freaking training. Right. Like you'll have some good days where you'll feel good, and then you'll have days where like nothing's clicking, your brain's slow. And when your brain's slow in jiu-jitsu or judo or MMA, like it's not like, I had a rough day at work. It's you got thrown at the floor several times.
There's a U-shaped hole in the ground.
Yeah. It's, It's just it's a little bit different when you're kind of putting in the terms of jujitsu because it's I don't want to say it's more real, but it's definitely more.
The
You feel the
consequence,
physical ends of
yeah,
it
the
a little bit more.
consequences are immediately
Oh, for sure,
present to you.
for
That's
sure.
why I think like martial arts is so fantastic
Yeah,
for whatever you're doing in
yeah.
life.
But like my brother's, so my little brother's maybe potentially career, right?
Yeah.
His first internship was he had to count cars on a video coming and going out of parking garages.
Oh,
Like you would watch video and just count like one in, one out, one in, one out. And like to figure out, they would do that to figure out like the volume, when they're the most busy,
yeah,
how
yeah,
many
yeah.
people are going in and out and stuff like that. I'm
It's
like,
going to some kind of like
it's
analytic, like it's like
someone needs to figure out a software to do this for the camera. But now he actually just got
software is called
he got
Bennett.
he had an internship and he was just doing like Excel stuff, but Excel stuff that had to be manually done. Like I'm an Excel wizard, so if you guys need Excel help, I'm your man.
I'm not.
I'm your man. But like there's some stuff that you just can't do with formulas and stuff in Excel, so you have to like just manually copy and paste a billion times. And it gets tedious. But he went through that tedious stuff. He had a positive attitude with it, and they offered him a job position after college. He hasn't even started senior year yet.
Yeah.
And it's a job position where they're offering to pay him for his master's degree, to take his
That's
master's
awesome.
degree. But like that's part of the thing,
Yeah.
right? You need to deal with the crap in the way.
The counting the cars and the camera.
And when you deal with that, like the good stuff will come.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, he's going to start his job and it's going to be like, oh man, this sucks again. But like, you have to look at the big picture and what your end goal is. And like we said, it's pretty interesting because they don't know exactly how to build grit, right? I wish I could give you a magic formula that said, do this, do this, do this, do this, and it's magic. Or, for yourself or for your kid or whoever it may be.
It's so funny that you say this because something that my lovely girlfriend Sophia shared with me the other day exactly kind of puts it into a picture for you. And I thought it was really cool, and it didn't click in my head until just right now. But there's an author named Neil Gaiman. Gaiman, I never know how to pronounce his name. He's a great author. He writes the Sandman series, which is the comic book by Image Comics. He writes a bunch of really good fiction novels. And what he says on the subject, and I can't believe I didn't put this together till now, is something that worked for me was imagining that where I wanted to be, an author, primarily of fiction, making good books, making good comics, and supporting myself through my words, was a mountain, a distant mountain, but my goal. And I think that visualization of making your goal real, or like make it a place.
Oh, that's
right?
weird. We've talked about
that
goal setting.
that you're constantly moving towards. I think kind of helps, and with goal setting and a clear and precise picture of where you want to be, kind of helps that grit come out of you. Because and you can see it, and you can believe in yourself that you're going to make it. It's in the distance, but you're on your way. And that kind of made sense with me.
Yeah, that was really cool. By the way, we don't like plan these that much.
We pick a topic, and then we
and
muse on what it means to us, and then we come and chat about it.
Like I wasn't planning on telling that story about my brother, but
It came out.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, we don't know how to build grit. The one thing that they do know is it's not built by talent. So people who are naturally talented at certain things, it doesn't mean that they're going to have more grit than other people. What they do know is it's potentially built with a growth mindset, which we talked about, right? Which is essentially understanding like you are not fixed as you, right? The amount you can learn, the amount that you can do is not like has a level to it, right? You can always grow beyond that. And you can watch our episode on growth mindset. And we talked about a lot about what a growth mindset is and how to build that. So we're not going to go into that today. But there are a few character traits that someone with grit possesses. Now, like we said, we can't teach you how to have grit. But if you keep these traits in mind and you work on these traits with yourself, with your family, with your students, with whoever it may be, with your team that we talk about teams, right? You might see a little bit more grit come out. So the first trait, and there's about 4 of them, they're all equal, so I'm not even going to number them. I'll call them all the first trait.
All the first trait.
So don't get confused, right? Is courage.
4 first traits.
Right, is courage. So being able to step outside your box and do what needs to be done, not being scared of the consequences, not being scared of the great things you might get out of it, because that's a problem that people have is people are scared of success and they're scared of failure, right? So it's the courage to do what needs to be done. And that's the first trait.
It's very hard because before you're courageous, you typically have to be terrified. That's a very difficult thing.
You hear all the success stories, and every success story, I would say 90% of success stories I hear, it's when people hit their low, and that's when they're afraid, and they know, like, well, it's not gonna get worse from here.
Let's move up.
So they just have like pure courage the entire time. The first trait, the second first trait is being achievement oriented, right? You need to be someone who works hard. You always try to do the best that you can do, not others people's expectations, but yourself. And it's not even what you think you can do, it's what you can do, right? And you're a doer, right? You complete the tasks that are in front of you. You just get them done. You don't put them to the side, and it's just you're go, go, go.
Get the things done. Resilience, my favorite.
Didn't we have an episode on resilience?
We did have. We are very close to.
Yeah.
But resilience, I think, is my favorite trait in anybody. Like, that's my favorite stories when I see someone who just got, like, everything bad thrown at them. They caught, like, a really crappy break. And instead of saying, like, oh, why did I catch a bad? They, like, got up, picked themselves up, and, like, made it through it. Those are my favorite stories.
We had resilience as one of our powerful words for the kids. I thought it was a really good one.
That was one of my favorite ones.
The ability to bounce back from things. It was really cool about teaching that because, just with a gym, you have kids who get injured and stuff and they start crying. And it's a lot easier to get them to stop when they know what resilience is.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That's one of my favorite.
You need to be resilient about this. And they're like, well, I remember that.
Yeah, I can be resilient. I got my little, like, chat when a kid, like, starts crying. I'm like, 3 deep breaths. All right. Who's a tough martial artist? Are you a tough martial artist? It's like, yeah, I'm a tough martial artist. And they'll be crying like, I'm a tough martial artist. They get back up. They start running. They get back in the line. It's awesome. One of my favorite moments being a kid's instructor.
I'm going to start doing that with you. Who's a tough martial artist? I'm going to do that when we're running hills today.
Yeah. Who's the starter of the Talon? Who's a...
All right. The last one that's also very important is being an excellence seeker, right? An excellence seeker. So we're not saying that you seek perfection, right? There's very little things that you need to be able to do, like, and seek perfection, right? I'm talking gymnastics competitions, ice skating competitions. Like, there is a perfect score and there is a perfect ideal for what you're doing, and that ideal is always someone else's. It's not your ideal.
Oh, it's their completely
ideal.
Subjective,
right? And we don't want to strive for perfection or someone else's ideals, but we want to strive for excellence. And I think this is a really, really cool thing, and we could probably have an episode on it on its own. But it's striving to be the best that you can 100% possibly be, and better, right? And it's not even a trait, it's a mindset, another mindset that you need to be in.
I'm going to do the best I can given the tools that I have,
the circumstances that they are,
and I'm going to work really hard on this.
Yeah. I think it's just that strong combination of being a person with courage and resilience who's achievement oriented and who's seeking excellence in everything that they do, like everything, like even the little things, right? That's really what makes someone very successful. Like, look at Olympians and the leading business people, right? They do what needs to be done, and they do it better than anyone else and better than they think that they can do.
Inspiration isn't coming. No, you're never going to want to do it.
Yeah.
Just get up, see your goal, and work hard for it. I think is really
awesome.
What it comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's kind of grit. So
that's
if you
grit.
guys want to learn more about it, I definitely recommend start off with that TED Talk from Angela Duckworth. I think it's really good. I think it'd be really good to show your teenagers, watch yourself.
Teenagers need that.
Yeah, if you have
Oh, good freaking call. Teenagers, more than
dude,
anything, need to learn grit. It's hard for like a 6 or 10-year-old, but like I think the high schoolers with grit are the ones that
you know,
come
he's
out
serious when he's
running.
wagging his finger at
I'm
you.
wagging my finger. If you're a father or mother, whatever, of teenagers, make them watch that because
Yeah,
teenagers love to give up on stuff.
yeah, and then I think if you're interested in it, take it to the next step and read her book on grit, and that's
Hmm.
going to be when I'm done with. I'm reading Relentless right now. Grit will probably be my next one.
Relentless. I like.
Yeah, it's good. Maybe we'll talk about that one. That one's cool. Besides that, we would love if you guys would share our
Please
podcast with your
share our
friends.
podcast.
Share it on Facebook. We're on every podcast platform as well. Give us a rating if you're on a podcast
Yes,
platform. Share with your friends on
but only if
Facebook.
you're gonna give us 5 stars.
Yeah, just give us 5 stars.
Please.
I don't know if we have any stars yet, but people should just do it. Most of our viewers are on Facebook.
Yeah, it's true.
Uh, and if you want to kind of get yourself out of your comfort zone, and like I said, it's open to everyone, we're going to be running today in about 30 minutes.
Meet us at the Academy, 1800 Wisconsin Avenue,
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
And plan on us doing it next weekend too. Awesome. Take care, guys.
Have
Love
a good
you.
day. Bye.